Hey, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Shockwave48 here. Welcome back to another video. And of course, more spoilers from the new My Hero Academia season, 365. We already know that Bakugo's getting healed by Edgeshot. He's trying to fix him up, and of course, everyone's trying to keep Shigaraki occupied for the time being, so Edgeshot can do his thing and heal Bakugo up. But the problem is he has to make sure the heart is beeping, so it's going to pretty much boost Bakugo back to life, or probably he's going to get a new power up. I don't know, but I do know that this series is getting very interesting because right now everyone is trying to do their very best to keep Shigaraki from hurting Bakugo. So yeah, so let's go ahead and check this new chapter 365, guys. Let's do this.
So we got the 365 spoilers, and in this one we're finding out what had happened between Bakugo and Edgeshot and the whole heart thing, and I guess we're also finding out what's going on with Shigaraki to an extent. But first, let me just catch you up to speed on what had happened with Bakugo and Edgeshot. So at the end of the previous chapter, we found out that Edgeshot was essentially going to sacrifice himself by using his ultimate ability, the Ninpo 1000 Sheet Pure Zenith, which essentially is like spaghettifying his body so that using this he can repair Bakugo's heart, thus kind of becoming it at the same time. And through, crazy quirkery, this will bring Bakugo back to life. And that's where that ended off, and that brings us to the beginning of this chapter that starts with a narration talking about Edgeshot's quirk, saying that his ultimate move allows his body to become as thin as a spider's web. He's dissolving and going inside Bakugo's chest and uses one of the bubbles Wash gave him to sanitize his body. Okay, so I don't know if
That's
we
interesting.
saw that. Did we see Wash really do anything? I mean, I know that we saw him somewhat, but I don't know if we saw that. If we did, let me know in the comments. Regardless, it's fine. It's necessary, and obviously this is something that we talked about in the previous chapter. With how filthy everything here is, and, they're performing open heart surgery, like, on a dirty battlefield. So, whatever. It works for me. Hey, also, guys, if you like my Hero content, please subscribe if you haven't already. It's fine if you don't want to, but if you just need a reminder, here you go. Thanks. He says that Genis has sewn up some parts, but others have escaped his grasp, and the lung was also damaged. So Edgeshot will make sure that all the wounds are sutured, and then make sure that the heart starts beating again from the inside. So we talked about this in the previous review too, because we saw Best Genis like doing some stuff to Bakugo with his quirk, like his denim was coming off of him and going inside of him, and I was like, hey, Best Genis, what are you doing? That's dirty. So did Best Genis have some wash bubbles too and sanitized his denim for him to suture him, or is it even necessary at that point? I don't know. It's working out, I guess, but I don't know if he's like putting denim in his heart or whatever, but he did something for sure. But yeah, Edgeshot is not only going to repair the heart, but also the lungs, I guess, too, and any other damage that he took. And he's somehow going to make sure that the heart is going to start beating again, I guess just because he's somewhat sentient before it's completely done. And I guess we'll get into that with the next part here. He hopes that Genis and Mirko will find a way to hold Tomorall for one, because if Bakugo takes any more damage, there will be nothing they can do. The narration says that besides being very difficult to control, this technique consumes the user's lifetime considerably. So yeah, understandable.
So they're trying to keep him
especially
occupied
because this is like his
Edgeshot can do his thing to
ultimate
heal him
ability,
up.
something that we weren't privy to before. So I guess that makes up for the fact that it's just suddenly coming out of nowhere, since he hadn't shown the ability to like spaghettify himself before, and it consuming his lifetime considerably means I guess it's going to get to the point of where he is like in Bakugo's chest, like became the part of his heart that was necessary to repair it, and then with like the last bits of life that he has, he's going to just use that to start it pumping again or something, and then he just dies at that point. Now Bakugo has, I guess, an even stronger heart. Tomorall for one asks what they are doing, because he has already broken that toy. In mid-sentence, his pronoun changes from Boku, all for one, to Ore, Shigaraki, as he remembers the time he told the doctor that he would destroy everything in the beginning of the My Villain Academia. Veins start popping out on his forehead, and he jumps towards Bakugo in rage. But before he can do anything, Mirko jumps in front of him and hits him with a kick. He bites her arm with one of his hand mounts.
Surprise attack,
and asks if she wants to be crushed that badly. But this makes Mirko even angrier and causes her to rip off her own right arm and kicking Shigaraki again. So this is troubling, kind of, because at this point, Mirko has lost both her arms now and one of her legs. So she just has one leg right now.
How are you still alive with one leg? You must be a very
Mirko to like
impressive survivor fighting like that.
Like, we gotta up stakes somehow.
That's crazy.
We'll just have, you know, one of the characters just lose their limbs. That kick did real damage to Shigaraki, and he doesn't understand why, since he should be in a perfect state. Then he remembers the hits Bakugo landed earlier and thinks, no, it can't be. Genis catches Mirko.
I can't believe Mirko's still alive from all that chaos. She lost her both arms and a leg, and she has one leg. It's crazy.
With only one leg. She screams, "How nice you are, King of Demons." Shigaraki is about to land a blow on her, but Mirio suddenly appears through the sea of hands and puts his hands on Shigaraki's face, blocking his vision. Shigaraki changes the direction of the hands to hit Mirio, but it's useless. Mirko asks where he's looking at and says that people only die when their time comes for good. The same line she said to the Nomus in the lab. Tomura, for one, still can't understand why Bakugo's attacks did lasting damage. That's when it finally dawns on him. That uneasiness he was feeling while facing the boy was fear. He was threatened. Okay, so just remember that whole thing. He was feeling threatened, because we're going to come back to it after we finish the spoilers so we can make full sense of everything, or at least attempt to. Mirko remembers Edgeshot telling her to struggle and says that if she is asked to do something, she will do it flawlessly, so that in the end she can die without any regrets. She then hits Shigaraki with several blows in a row, a move she calls Luna Rush. Shigaraki looks at everyone, and the memories begin to flood in his mind. He doesn't understand why they are trying so hard to save someone who is already broken, when as a child he was alive and no one reached out a hand to him. We see panels showing all the members of his family, and on the last page they all begin to rise from the sea of hands, as if they were meat puppets. End of chapter. Okay, so that's an interesting development, and I think we're getting more into what the ultimate downfall of Shigaraki / All for One is going to be here. But let's go back to the part where it says that that's when it finally dawns on him. That uneasiness he was feeling while facing the boy was fear. He was feeling threatened. So in chapter 362, when Bakugo was lighting up Shigaraki in his cluster mode, right before he had died, Shigaraki / All for One said, "How is this angering me so much? This random extra who doesn't even possess One for All?" And then we see like this vision of the second user for some reason. And then he said, "Why am I suddenly panicking?" So it turns out he was panicking because he was feeling threatened. And then at the end of the chapter here, it says we see panels showing all of the members of his family. And on the last page, they all begin to rise from the sea of hands as if they were meat puppets. So another interesting thing that Rukasu points out in these spoilers here is that in chapter 362, during that moment, we saw like the face of Shigaraki's dad coming out of his meatiness here.
That's
so I
gross.
guess that goes into him feeling threatened by what Bakugo was doing to him. It kind of triggered like this reaction in him. It reminded him of how his dad treated him when he was a child, which is obviously like
a rough childhood back then.
Shigaraki's life, and is one of the main causes of the severe mental health issues he has today. But that doesn't explain why he also saw the second user. And what I think might be happening here is that because Shigaraki himself was like feeling threatened and it reminded him of his dad, maybe that also triggered All for One, since they are like syncing and sharing a consciousness right now, and it made All for One remember a time when he was threatened. And it's possible it was like, 100 years ago or whatever, when the second user was going against him, because as we could see, the second user is like no nonsense, no fear, the leader type, and it's implied that he has a pretty powerful quirk too, even without the One for All power up, I suppose. So maybe these two things are linking up here possibly, but I'll talk more about this tomorrow once I'm able to see the full chapter, try to make more sense of it.
Alright. Okay. Things are getting good, but also in the end worse, because I don't know how long it's going to take for Edgeshot to revive Bakugo. And of course, everyone is trying to keep Shigaraki occupied, and Mirko lost both her arms and a leg, and she has one leg left. So I don't know how she's going to survive this battle, but she's doing the best she can to stop Shigaraki from, taking damage from Bakugo. This is insane. I mean, I never expected this series would be so much interesting to be than season 4, 3, and 5. Well, of course, season 1, I think. But I'm just gonna say it like this, guys. This season is gonna be lit, and I'm looking forward to see what happens to Shigaraki. And I'm wondering if Deku's gonna arrive. I haven't got any intel about that, but I do know he's on his way. but I don't know how far he is right now, so it's gonna take for us a little while to, get some full details about that. So yeah. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.